where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
And welcome back to the show. Our phone lines are open. This is an important conversation. We the people need to speak out. 1-866-801-8255. I mean, obviously there's something terribly wrong with this country, but ousting the president is, to me, is not the answer. We're going to go to the phone line where Jenna in New York is holding. Hi, Jenna, and thank you for calling the show. You're on with Larry Klayman.
Hi, Armstrong. How are you?
Fine, and thank you for asking.
Okay, I first want to give a comment to you because normally I've spoken to you in the past when we've disagreed, but I have to honestly say, of course, I'm a Democrat. I make a six-figure salary, and I've always disagreed. I pretty much disagree with you, but I have to say that you are definitely holding your own in this conservative conversation, and I was very surprised to know that not everything with this party that you align with. So let me just say that. So I don't see you as the monster as I used to see you. I do.
Well, are you in line with everything of your party?
I'm sorry?
Are you in line with everything of your party?
No, of course not. But there are some things that, that I can honestly say that we disagree with. But, I have a viewpoint about Republicans, and the regressive Kramer that you have on is one of those Republicans. And I kind of saw Armstrong that way. But I can honestly say there is a huge difference between the two, and I'm glad for that. So, Armstrong, let me say that at first.
No, thank you. And talk directly to Larry. There he is.
It's sad that regressives like you honestly feel like that after voting for this president twice, that the American people have not already spoken, that somehow you'd like us to think that we don't know not only what we voted for, but for exactly what we were voting for, which the platform was for his health care. Now, though I said, like I said, I make a six-figure salary, I am not one to say I am not concerned about health care for all people. I am certainly not one to say, and I have not seen your party at all come up with anything different. What I've seen your party do, and I'm speaking specifically to the regressives, is you point your finger, you try to get this president out. I can't tell you how many times I've watched Republican presidents, and I've not seen the same kind of attitude toward them. You increased our national debt with the stunt that your party pulled. And then
you know what? You're misinformed. Maybe you should go see the movie Casablanca.
No, I'm not misinformed about you.
You're misinformed. Okay, let me finish now because
yes,
what you
I said misinformed.
What you just said
exactly
has no bearing to me, frankly, and you should educate yourself.
It's okay.
You're a regressive.
Okay? You're a regressive, and you have no conscience whatsoever.
Okay.
The point is
now let me explain. Number one, I'm not advocating for the Republican. You obviously weren't listening to what I was saying before.
You use what you said.
Number two, you want to let me finish because this is typical of the left. They don't let anybody talk. Okay, it's typical of your president.
Larry, let me just say, Larry, let me say this to you, Larry. You are the guest. You're here to set an example. Our callers are always the most important part of the conversation. They say things to me that I don't like, but I let them talk. Larry, wait. Larry, let her make her point. And the guy Larry, you're a big boy. Let her make her point, and then we'll finish.
She's not talking about me.
That is not your decision. Let her make her point. She waited. She called in. There's a lot of other things she could be doing her time, and I appreciate the fact that she called. Let her make her point. You got the full hour. Please. Jenna, finish your point, and then Larry will respond.
Thank you, sir. I'd like you to say how you did not increase the debt, knowing that the billions of dollars that got lost during that time of shutting down the government. And also, when you spoke about the metaphor of the president coming up with his hands up, I'd like to know what's your metaphor with your Ku Klux Klan hat on.
Jenna, that's it. Jenna, thank you. No, Jenna, thank you for calling. I appreciate your listening to the show. Larry, respond.
You know what? Let me answer the last one first. Armstrong and I have been good friends for many years. Armstrong knows that I'm not a racist.
Absolutely not.
Okay. And Armstrong knows that
you believe what you say, and you've been consistent with all the presidents.
Is all about. I might add.
Yes.
Long before African Americans were wrongly enslaved in this country, my people were wrongly enslaved in Egypt, and Moses led them out of Egypt to the Promised Land. It took them 40 years to get there. So don't tell me about slavery, okay? And don't tell me about racism. My heritage is equally as sad as yours. And that goes for Christians, too. Okay, Jesus was hung up on the cross. He was persecuted. He was made a slave. So don't tell me about racism. So I'm tired of that. I'm sick of it. Secondly, this president he is not the president of all of the people. He should be the president of all the people. He's the president of his constituency. And when you become elected president, and he was elected with only about 51%, there's 49% in this country who believe differently. And you have to try to govern to take into account their grievances as well as the people that put you in power. It doesn't give you a carte blanche to do whatever you want and to ram it down people's throats. And that's why his popularity is sinking faster than a rock, and that's why he believes that he can do whatever he wants. And that is not the way you can govern. Go back and read, our founding fathers' writings, the Federalist Papers, Alexis de Tocqueville. You can't govern that way. And he has become a tyrant. He has become a dictator. And there's no opposition. And our founding fathers envisioned that we, the people, would rise up. Jefferson said there should be a rebellion every 20 years to clean house. Jefferson didn't want to.
Larry, we're going to move on with another caller. Larry,
I'm not even advocating that.
Larry, listen. We're running out of time. I respect what you're saying, but you gotta shorten those answers, brother. You're a lawyer. You can do it. Michael, in California, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, how are you doing there, Mr. Armstrong?
Fine, and thank you for calling.
I'm actually, I really don't agree with a lot of what Larry's saying, but I'm glad that you were able to bring him onto the show, and so that he could voice his opinion. And my concern is that, it seems like everything that he's talking about, and he may not be racist, but it just seems like there's a lot of, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but there's like hate or discontent, and I don't think it should be that way. I think that this president, yes, I'm African American, okay, and there's certain things about the policies or that I don't agree with. I don't agree with that the percentage of African Americans, the unemployment rate has always been higher, but it's been always higher throughout anybody's presidency. So I would like for him to do something about that. But this president, you just can't catch a break. When I hear him talk about Benghazi, this is something, or not Benghazi, but when he talked about the Attorney General lying under oath about the guns. And
Fast and Furious.
I'm sorry, what was that, sir?
Fast and Furious.
Yes, Fast and Furious. This is something that was not, it had already started, and once they found out, they put a hope to it. So, I mean, I can't understand why, all the blame is going on.
Michael, let's give Larry a chance to respond. Yeah. And again, thank you for listening, and thank you for calling, Larry.
I understand how people feel. I got to tell you, I didn't vote for Obama. I was proud that the United States would elect an African American 5.5 years ago, and I wasn't so negative then. Let me be blunt, Armstrong. He's to represent everybody. He's not just to represent African Americans or Muslims or other people. And the impression that he has given to this country and to me is that he only cares about his own people. And I said that on the mall. I'm sick and tired, not just of people like your prior caller calling everyone that disagrees with him racist, but I'm sick and tired of this president. And he had no business intervening in the George Zimmerman case. He tried to influence that. Before the trial and the jury verdict, he says that he could have had a son like Trayvon. That's it, sending a signal to the legal system to do a number on George Zimmerman. And then when Zimmerman's acquitted, he says, I could have been George Zimmerman 37 years ago. This president, to me, has shown an antipathy towards white people. We're as equal as blacks. I want to be treated the same. Blacks shouldn't sit at the back of the bus, and neither should whites. And that's the problem. He's given the impression that he's only the president of his own people. And I understand the pride that's involved in having him as president. We all had that. But unfortunately, he's destroyed that pride, and he's destroyed our trust.
What we're going to do, here's what we're going to do. Callers, we're going to give you a chance of rapid fire. We're just going to want you to call in, make your statement, make your appointment, and then after 3 or 4 callers, because we have so many callers, and we respect you, then we're going to have Larry respond to the rapid caller. So I'm going to start with you, Matt, in Texas. We're going to give each of you a minute to say what you have to say. Matt, go ahead.
Hi. Well, I just say I'm a Republican, and he's really killing our party. One, he's a hypocrite. He's talking about Zimmerman. remember Bush when he interceded in the case of where the lady was dying and her husband wanted to
Terry Schiavo.
Yes, Schiavo. Also,
wait.
Larry, remember the game plan. Let them talk. You're going to have it. Let them finish.
Iran-Contra. I don't like Obama's policy, but you are really muddying the waters and killing it to where nobody will listen to our ideas. And Obama's not perfect, but he's trying. And you're killing it to where in 2016, where we at least have a chance of getting somebody in, you're killing that chance.
Matt in Texas, thank you. Corey in Arkansas, thank you for your patience. You're on the air.
Hey, Armstrong, this may be the day for repetition, but just first, as the other lady caller said, I'm a black Democrat. Couldn't stand you for most of my adult life, but have started listening and really appreciate and respect your perspective now. In terms of your guest today, my comment is that I think it's really sort of what world is he living in, where he can interpret really much of what President Obama has been able to do in this term as either dictatorial, in that he's been working against the Congress controlled by the opposition party for most of his term, so he hasn't gotten much done that he wanted to get done, or number two, in the interest of only black people. You would be hard-pressed to find one black person in this country that actually would agree that Obama has been working solely on behalf of black people. If you look at the statistics, unemployment, healthcare, all of those things show that black folks actually kind of almost have it worse now. So the idea that either one, he's a dictator, or two, he's only working on behalf of black people, you just don't have data.
Well, you see, here's the problem.
Corey, thank you for Larry. You've got to follow the guidelines. Let us go through the rapid callers, and then you're going to respond, please. Nate in Ohio. Nate, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for getting to me. Number one, Larry, you may not consider yourself a racist, but you are an anarchist. You want to subvert the democratic process of voting for the president. The man was elected to carry out his term, and he is going to carry out the term. You bring that mess into Washington, and you are going to start a fire that you cannot put out, and I think that's really behind what you want to see happen. Secondly, you make a lot of accusations that you have not brought up any resources or proof of. You stated your opinion, what you believe and what you think. I'm done with you.
Thank you. One last caller, and then we're going to Larry, because we promised him. Edward in North Carolina, before we go back to Mr. Klayman. Go ahead, Edward.
Hey, Armstrong, how you doing?
Fine, thank you.
I'm a black Republican, and Larry, the only thing I want to say is you don't know how it feels to be an African American. And the Trayvon, what you said about our president, this president right here, I love George Bush. But George Bush did some wrong things also, but I supported the president. We need to support Barack Obama. He is the president at this moment. You're making our party look very bad. And I just want you to understand that the Republican Party, we lynched Susan Rice with the Benghazi. She should have been Secretary of State, but we lynched Susan Rice.
Edward in North Carolina, thank you. Larry Klayman?
Okay, let me give my rebuttal here. Number one, remember what the Declaration of Independence says. When in the course of human events, the sovereign fails, I'm paraphrasing, to take into account the grievances of the people have a God-given duty to alter, amend, or abolish their form of government and to install a new form of government. I'm not just talking about Obama. I'm talking about the other side of the aisle, too, the Republicans. We have totally broken away from the principles of our founding fathers. Someone needs to put fear into the government in a peaceful and nonviolent way, and that is what we're doing. Number two, with regard to this president, Obama, he has done everything he can to bankrupt this country, and the Republicans are unable to stop him in doing that. I believe that his concept is, and certainly African Americans deserve their due. They deserved equal rights. They deserve to be in society and to be free like everybody else. I fought for them. And I even represented the NAACP back in the Clinton years when Ron Brown was killed, believe it or not. But the reality is that this president thinks that somehow African Americans need to be paid reparations, is that we're going to dismantle this country, we're going to bankrupt it, we're going to empty out the Treasury to pay back for the years of discrimination as this country sinks.
Now, wait a minute. I've never heard the president mention anything about no reparations. Where's that coming from?
Let me give you a good example. The African American Agricultural Loan Fund, which there are two cases in that.
That's for farmers, though, man. That's not reparations. Those people were harmed and discriminated against.
Oh, most of it is fraud, Armstrong.
But not all of it is fraud, Larry. Not all of it is fraud. Larry, it's not reparations. Obama is not advocating no reparations. That's not fair and that's not accurate.
At the American taxpayer's expense.
Now, Larry, are you a psychic? I notice over and over again you say what Obama thinks and what he thinks and what his intentions are. Do you have some kind of telescope that looks into his head that gives you data that's not available to the rest of us?
Renee, I didn't use the word thinks. Maybe I did once, but I'm talking about his actions.
Well, no, you
actions speak louder than words.
You said
okay?
Obama thinks.
Let me tell you something. Let me finish here, okay? You know, I am. My people, okay, Jewish people, were the first to come to the aid of African Americans. Sometimes they don't appreciate that very much, but that's true.
Larry, come on, Larry, come on. Larry, brother. Larry, come on now.
Really?
That's true.
Larry, come on, brother.
That's true.
Wait a minute. Joshua. Wait a minute, Larry. Wait a minute.
Larry, don't speak for you.
Larry, don't do that. Don't. Larry. Wait a minute. Let me go to Florida.
I don't have a right to complain as a white person. I don't have a right to complain.
Larry, come on.
Isn't Obama half white?
What does that have to do with anything? Please. Let's go to Joseph in Florida. Hello, Joseph in Florida. Thank you. Keep this thing moving. Joseph in Florida.
Apparently he doesn't feel that way.
Joseph in Florida. Go ahead. Are you going to say something, Joseph?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. I want to make a statement behind the young man who called in and said that he was white and he was a slave in Egypt and Moses led them out. You know, you never can, and I just want to say to him, you can never get along as long as you lie and proclaim to be what you're not. The people that were in Egypt and led out by Moses were black people. And I don't mean brown people either. They were black people. And he ought to stop going around lying, saying that he and his people was in Egypt as slaves.
My only point,
Joshua in Florida, thank you for calling.
My only point, Armstrong and Renee and callers, is that all of our interests have to be taken into account. This president believes, I believe, I'm going to say it clearly, someone's got to start saying it clearly, that it's payback time for Whitey. That's the way he is acting.
I mean by
revenge. So it's Larry, you think it's about revenge?
Yeah. He's extracting it. He's extracting his pound of flesh. And people are beginning.
You know, Larry, I have to tell you, this is a sad. Larry, this is a sad conversation for me. It's very sad, because you know what? I hear this on the air sometimes from our listeners, and I tell them you're so off point. But you actually believe that Obama is in the White House to punish white people? Are you kidding me?
No, I believe that's the.
Let me just tell you something. Black people are more punished. Black people are more punished by his policies than anybody else.
I'll be the first to come to defense of African Americans. But
Larry, black people.
But I want to be treated equally.
But listen, Obama. Listen. I just got to take a break. I got to take a deep breath here. I want Larry to talk, because if this is how he feels, we need to hear it, and we don't need to argue with him. We need to show him a better way. That's what he's saying. It's just not true. Okay? We'll be back.